I don't have a camera.
It's 9 o'clock and we'll call the meeting to order and begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mochler.
Here.
Graylow.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Easy.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Are there any conflicts of interest to declare?
Possibly. I am a member of Southeast Farmers.
And is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
You can't shut the door. You
Please
gotta
not
leave
all
it
the way.
cracked a little bit.
Thank you. All right. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any visitors to be heard? Who are not on the agenda for other reasons? Okay. And then, so, see. We've got the first reading of ordinance 2024-01, zone land. At 45568 313th Street in Mecklen. Drew, would you like to start us off?
So, right, this is rezoning, we came to from last month. I don't know if Rod has anything to add on the road situation.
Still waiting on test. I met with the engineers at our conference. They got a idea of what we can do without buying any extra right away. But they can't really tell me what we can do till we get those test results, and he hasn't, I just emailed him and he hasn't heard back from him yet, so I would think that'd be coming here pretty quick, but get back to the office, I'll call Geotech and see what the holdup is, but
You think you'll have it by like next week?
oh,
Okay. And we can go to advance it to the second reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can advance it to the second reading pending further information next week.
So moved. Second.
So motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we're not holding this up waiting on results from us, are we?
Well,
I think that that's important information to have.
But I mean, just so everybody's clear, there's no reason why they can't start construction, I wouldn't say.
yeah, well, we've got a second reading next week.
Okay.
So nothing could start until after next week anyway.
So we're moving ahead normally, but with the understanding that those tests will turn out to be fine.
And
Or-
if they don't, then next week we will have a discussion and figure out what.
Well, if we have to if we have to rebuild the road, I mean, that's worst case scenario we're looking at right now.
Yeah,
We'll have to work with Southeast Farmers on coordinating. Cause they'll have to get in and out and
I just want to be blamed for holding everything up.
no,
I don't see no reason why if they wanted to get in there, they couldn't.
nor I would want to be holding it up, because
Okay, just wanted to clear that up, thank you.
but yeah, and it's not an on-off switch. It would be just how we would have to modify the plans we have now. If we end up with some deep-seated goo that'll.
Yeah.
Cause
I
issues.
think our only concern is the access, is the road. I mean, we just want it built right for you guys,
Yep, right. Want
so it
to
doesn't
work
fall
right.
apart on you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, motion carries. And let's see. We've got the juvenile diversion. Is Annie Brokernick here?
Thank you. You can, wherever, whichever way you want.
Whichever we're comfortable. As long as you got a microphone. Perfect.
Hello, I'm Savannah Wise. I'm the executive director at Boys and Girls Club here in
Oh.
Vermillion. Thank you guys for allowing us to get on your agenda kind of short notice. I do have Annie Broken Leg. She was just on. I don't know what happened to her. I will invite her to speak first on what we're proposing today, and then I can give some insight on the program because I have ran it before.
Great. Annie, are you on?
She's not.
Doesn't look like she is.
She was, is that right?
I think so.
In the meantime, I'm Andy Schultz. I'm a local Vermillion Advisory Council member for Boys and Girls Club, as well as a corporate board member for the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Plains that runs all of our 4 clubs across Brookings, Flandreau, Yankton, and Vermillion here. So,
Great, welcome.
thank you.
Well, I can tell you about our current diversion program we have in Clay County while she gets back on. We currently run teen court with a partnership with the state's attorney right now. It's been very successful since Boys and Girls Club has come to Vermillion. Beforehand, we were running it out of Yankton Boys and Girls Club, traveling here once a week. But now that we're in town, we've had a lot of capability to grow the program. So we hired a strictly Vermillion teen court coordinator who is in our schools every day. She has a caseload of about 18 active students right now. Cases all the way from truancy, simple assault, couple vape charges. So yeah, she's been working hard. She meets with our principals weekly and the counselors as well. And teen court, the mission of us is really just to fill those gaps and find out why our students are offending. So if they have truancy because they don't have a ride to school, we're buying them a bus pass or we're taking them. If they need mental health services, we partner with Lewis and Clark and they do a mental health screening at every intake. So every student receives that, and then the Lewis and Clark counselor recommends these if it's either family therapy, MRT, individual counseling, and then they would have to follow through in order to complete the program. We also have a tutoring program here in Vermillion that a lot of our teen court students are in just to help them raise their grades. We have some students that could be out of the program, but their grades are slacking. So we're just holding them in a little longer. So we've had a lot of flexibility being here and everybody has been great. State's attorney and our teen court coordinator meet bi-weekly to go over active cases and they let us know if there's any underlying factors that we need to be aware of or anything else that maybe is out of our zone. They're really good at filling us in and making sure that we're all on the same page. So it's been great. And we're here to hopefully expand that and continue to keep reaching these kids that maybe are in the rough of it and we can do what we can to pull them out. So you're gonna update for me or maybe here. Oh, there she is. don't know if you wanted to expand on teen court too, but.
No, I actually, Caitlin's the one who meets with, I can't take credit for that
Yeah.
personally. Caitlin's the one that meets with, Teen Court. She has student raves about it. It's been a great partnership. And I think there's a great opportunity to expand opportunity, for diversion in Clay County through this grant application. So, I've met with them before this was brought in front of the commission, feel very confident that this seems to be a good marriage and a good opportunity, both for the state's attorney's office and for the Boys and Girls Club, and most importantly, for the youth of Clay County.
Yeah. Keep softening it out.
Is Annie on yet? She was, but she must be having trouble. Okay, well, so maybe Carrie can keep an eye out and see if we can.
Yeah.
I
But
guess,
if not, Savannah, is that something you could speak to? If we can't
I
get
can
Annie
speak on the program, I think. Oh, Annie, are you,
on here. Oh, good.
it's more the grant
Hi,
applications. It's not.
I
on here.
am can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes, thank you. You're on.
I'm having huge Wi-Fi issues, apparently.
So
I'm
Annie, I
gonna-
just got done talking about teen court. If you would want to talk about the grant.
Yeah, Savannah, if you want to continue, I'm gonna try to hop back on without Wi-Fi. It seems to not be working well.
Okay, I can give a little bit of update here, so, before we get talking specifically about the grant, in 2022, I've got the, successful diversion program, results from 2022. This was brought to, in front of the commission back in October. We provided this to you at that time. Through the year, we had 11 successful, diversion, and that would have all been through teen courts, my understanding. At that time, we had 2 that were unsuccessful, and if I remember correctly, both of those were still hanging on. Maybe one had actually been unsuccessful and one was still pushing over to the next year. But for comparison, for similarly situated counties, Hughes County had 23 successful completions. In that time frame, it looks like Coddington, which is quite a bit bigger, they had 170. They're not substantially larger. I mean, the number we're talking from 11 to 170 is astronomical. My understanding is Coddington County is part of this grant. That Boys and Girls Club is here today, because this grant will provide more opportunity beyond just teen court. And I don't have the numbers for where Coddington County was at prior to implementing this grant, but to be at 170 and for us to be at 11, I think at least gives me hope that there's more kids to reach through this grant, and through bringing in somebody who can do more than just teen court. Of course, there's other counties that are similarly situated as well. Yankton had 20. It looks like I think Brookings had 51. So there is a mixture of kind of how many kids have been running through diversion programs as a whole in the state of South Dakota. Senate Bill 47 just was passed and signed by the governor last week. In the past, successful diversion candidates, youth diversion, filling out the proper documentation to the state was refunding the county at a rate of $250 per successful youth diversion completion through the fiscal year. The Senate Bill 47 was passed. That's going to increase that from $250 up to $750 per successful completion. So now in the 2022 fiscal year, that dollar amount was prorated from $250 down to $209 because there wasn't enough funding. The only concern I have is how the state has gone about. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, and perhaps Amy will have some more insight on that. But how they've funded in order to increase that from $250 to $750, I'd be interested to know how much additional funding has gone from into this pot for counties to receive. Because even at this time frame, we were down fairly significantly from that $250 down to $209 at a prorated rate. But that does also give me, I think that incentive-based structure is intentional, and it seems like it's also a positive thing for counties as well.
Yeah, I mean, the what I know about diversion programs from years of volunteering and working and studying and teaching is that they work, and that what you save in the short run is almost insignificant in terms of what you save in the long run, because these are kids who are much less likely to become adult offenders. And it's, I think what Teen Court's done is astonishing. And looking at your numbers for other counties, they're likewise astonishing.
You know, we do have the potential. It's just with teen court, we reach those first time offenders. So when we get those repetitive names, we don't have the resources currently to keep serving them. And that's what JDAI and diversion will do, is give us, you know, the funds to reach out to that curriculum. And, you know, really with Boys and Girls Club taking over Austin Elementary too, we'll have a physical building that the kids will be able to come to and get those services. So just a lot of potential for growth, and that 11 is minute to what we could be serving if we had the right resources.
So do we have Annie on again?
I am. Good morning, everyone. I apologize. I was having major Wi-Fi issues, so not good timing. So I'm here now, so hopefully you can hear me. I heard Michael and Savannah talking a little bit about why they came in front of you today. So I feel like they did a good explanation. Michael, I know you had a question about where the funding is coming from to increase the diversion incentive fund.
Right.
So those dollars are actually already in state budget. They back in 2016 when Senate Bill 73, which was a big juvenile justice legislative reform package, it took dollars from the Department of Corrections and put them over to the Division of Behavioral Health to treat kids in the community instead of sending them away into placements, which we knew was very expensive and also not very effective. That was a good thing. It created that initial diversion incentive fund of $250. However, those dollars, the incentive fund is being spent, but the community provider dollars have not been spent. In fact, millions of dollars have been returned to state budget every year. So legislators, policymakers thought that this would be a really good way to use some of that money to put into diversion and I just heard the commissioner talking about, we know diversion works, right? And it's proven, we can see in the numbers in the state of South Dakota that it's been working very well. So this was a way to help support counties in the funding of their diversion programs by increasing that fund. So if your question is like, are those dollars going to decrease or go away? The answer is no. In fact, I mean, I hope we just continue to see an increase because as you say, I mean, we know that diversion is a really good way of keeping kids out of the system and hopefully long term. So is there any other things that you wanted me to address, Michael or Savannah?
I guess from my perspective, Amy, we kind of went over some of the, I went over that, the chart of kind of the successful diversion through the last couple of years. And I think beyond that, perhaps, just kind of what the grant is and kind of how it's funded. I don't think we really went through the nuts and bolts of kind of what the grant really is.
Sure. So this grant would come from the state, from the Department of Corrections. You would not be the first county to receive a grant that would do this, which is nice. So you're not reinventing the wheel. We have, we've been in Brown, Davison, Coddington, Brookings, Yankton, Hughes, Northern Hills, Bennett County, so Lincoln County most recently. And so this grant is an application that comes out yearly. It's intended for a 3-year period. So after the 3 years, you do want to look at how, in combination with the Boys and Girls Club and the county could support it moving forward. I will say that every county that has ran their course of their 3 years, they've all picked up the cost of this because first of all, they're getting a lot more money back from the state for the diversion incentive fund. They also see the benefit to the community. They're also saving money in terms of JDC bed day costs. So it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? But yeah, so it's a 3-year grant. It would fund, obviously the ask here is that the county, Clay County, you guys are giving the blessing for the Boys and Girls Club to apply and kind of oversee everything, which is nice. They've already kind of have built-in grant managers and programming, which is excellent. So there's no cost to the county for those for the first 3 years for sure. It's all the grant covers the position, the benefits, everything, materials and everything for the program.
Okay, and so the request is that we sign a memorandum of agreement among all the partners and that we send a delegate to the commission that will superintend the program.
Yes.
Who are all the partners? I mean, when I see we're partnering with you, are we partnering with Union County?
Yeah, so it's Clay and Union County, but it also includes the superintendents of schools.
Right, but I see there's only a signature spot for the Vermillion and El Point schools.
Yeah, I had some questions about that part.
I
too.
was wondering if Dakota Valley is in it and Beersford.
Yeah, so it'll reach across all Union County, and I know this is just the rough draft that Annie sent out to us. I didn't see that part, but all the schools would be in it as well.
Okay, does that, oh, go ahead.
All the schools within these two counties.
Yes.
Okay,
School districts,
school districts, that would include like Wakanda, Irene, Beersford.
Centerville, Gayville.
Yeah,
I think that would be appropriate, and I suppose I'd let Andy just speak to that with the experience she's had. She's also, it sounds like maybe at least theoretically with Benton County and some of those other similarly situated or smaller counties, interested to know how you partnered with some of those, because for instance, as they were discussing Irene, Wakanda, probably about half the kids that attend that school district live in Clay County. The school itself is out of Clay County. It's in Turner County. Beersford, same thing. A decent percentage of the population that attend the Beersford School District lives in Clay County. But the school itself, the middle school, elementary school, high school are all in Beersford, which are in Union County here, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the Irene Wakanda, for instance, that school is located in Turner County.
right. That was the question I had, was that because you referred it as Union County School District, and there are in Iowa, there's a Plymouth County School District, but if you're in South Dakota, they're individual to each school district is an individual governmental unit. And that's, I just saw that in the parties under section 1, and that's why I was questioning that. Who exactly are we partnering with? And it sounds like this is an early draft, and maybe those would be cleared up or.
Yeah, this is
properly
Annie. So
enumerated.
yep, that's a draft, and by all means, update that to include all necessary school districts and schools that you want to include on there. I think you guys are right, Michael. Including the schools from the beginning, I think is a really important step. We just did this in Lincoln County, which is similar in that they cover a lot of different school districts and areas within their large county. So yeah, you can completely update that. And Savannah and I have talked, I mean, it'll be kind of up to Savannah to get out there as the club director to talk about this project and get those signatures for that MOU.
But we can only affect the students who live in our county, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
We can't do the whole school.
No, that's one thing that I think was important to clarify too, is that this
Yeah.
is for our county and for the students that are from our county. And I understand that since Boys and Girls Club is headquartered here in Vermillion, of course, it's going to be heavy. The emphasis is probably going to be a little heavier in Vermillion than some of those outlying school districts, but I guess we'd rely on the sheriff's department and your department to sort out and make sure that those outlying school districts are well served too. Be a little harder. How on those outlying school districts would Boys and Girls Club coordinate to make sure that there's hand contact with those that I kind of assume that the school is going to be a key part in the day-to-day or week-to-week, not supervision, but cooperation with students that would be in this program?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's so crucial that the school boards or the school is on board, because we are traveling there and when we're meeting with those kids. So it's a really case management style and we're meeting with them weekly in the school since we don't have a Boys and Girls Club. So that's how they would, we would implement our curriculum with them, go on study halls, go at lunchtime, not taking that class, but that's why we would need the school signature. So we would be allowed to come in and communicate that information. In Yankton, when we would be working with Gayville, it would be just like a simple email, this kid kicked out of class today, and then we're heading out to Gayville to come talk to that student, so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm all in, but there are just a few of those sorts of details. We want to make sure that, that it's inclusive enough to serve all of our students
Mhm.
and, but we're not, but those things where we're coordinating with other counties that there's some handshaking that can go on there too to help.
So would you like to make a motion to approve the MOU with the proviso that it would serve all Clay County juveniles eligible for services?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Did you have another comment?
No, I was just gonna say, we've been here coming up on 2 years now. We're thankful for the support that we get. I know we've been in front of you a few times, but I hope that we'll be in front of you more frequently, update you what we're doing. The Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Plains started over 20 years ago in Brookings and built really a very strong organization that has the ability to support us in our endeavors here. With that said, we are self-sufficient, and that's the way we got to be built. And so the clubs rely heavily on partnerships, and it starts with our public partnerships, and then it's a spider web from there. It really does take a tribe to operate these clubs. We're still kind of early in our story here in Vermilion. We're still a fee-based program. We hope to transition to more of a traditional program, we call it, where we can serve a lot more youth that maybe can't afford the $125 a month that it costs, to attend our academy, we call it. So we just have a lot of work to do, and we want to, be in front of you guys to thank you for your support. We'll ask for it for it again. And if there's anything we can do to help show you what we do, we'd love to do that. Savannah has a good staff that operates at both Vermilion or Austin and Jolly today, but eventually it'll just be at Austin here this fall. And, by all means, if you want to come check out what we're doing, we do club tours that you can see firsthand, what it looks like for these kids that come hooting and hollering every day after school. And really just proud of what Savannah's doing for us here in Vermilion. And again, just thank you for your support.
I'm all in on Boys and Girls Club too. So my granddaughter participates all the time in Boys and Girls Club. And
I think I saw her on a brochure, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's a
she-
poster child. Yeah.
She's a cover girl for the
Yeah.
brochure. And she's really involved. I know that from time to time that she's really proud of, from time to time, she'll have an award from Boys and Girls Club that she's brought home 2 or 3 already in the last year. So really, she's all in, so I'm all in.
Good to hear.
Awesome.
And I think maybe just the last thing I would say is, my understanding, Annie, and this, and maybe you can speak to this as well. But this is all gonna happen pretty quickly. I think the grants applications are due fairly quickly and implemented this summer, depending on. if it's
Awesome.
approved.
That's great.
That's great.
Thank you all for.
Thank you. I apologize for my my issues, but I'm glad that we could be here, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Annie. It's a great project and I'm thrilled that it's going to happen.
Yeah, thanks for your hard work. We're glad to have you in the
Thank you, guys.
community. So, thanks.
All right, Rod. Tour of roads, huh?
Yeah, what are you thinking, sooner or later? Do you want to go out when we have a couple projects going.
I'm gonna vote for not today, but.
Oh, I was gonna mention today,
That's a good day to go out today.
nothing else going on.
But yeah, I'm open. It's completely up to you, I guess. We are gonna have a couple of bridge deck projects going on, but I'm sure they probably won't get started till the end of May, 1st of June, but we might get enough public response that we don't have time for anything else, but I guess we'll wait and see. Huh?
So do you have any preferences, time of the week, day of the week?
Just not on Friday.
Um,
How about you, Travis? So,
I mean, unless you guys want to see projects going on at the time, we can do it the 10th. That's a Wednesday, unless you want to do it after the meeting,
the 10th of
April.
April.
10th of April.
that would work for me.
I guess that gives us enough time to advertise once.
We need to advertise, you know.
Right.
So big deal.
Does it give us enough time?
I think it would.
I wouldn't be available till noon, but if you guys are alright doing an afternoon one.
10th of April, that's a Wednesday, right?
Yep.
That's a Wednesday.
But if we can get it done in the afternoon, we can go after our Tuesday meeting too.
Yeah, it just
on the
depends on how much response we get.
Right. Or how long do we need to advertise? Will it make the paper this week? Or did we
Not
miss
this
that?
week.
What's that? Next week?
Could make it next week, but it won't make it this week.
Right. Would the week after work better?
Probably.
Cause I'm gonna be gone. I'm doing a geotourism. I'm going down to Texas to view the eclipse on the 8th. I won't be back until sometime on Wednesday.
Like the 16th or something,
Sure. 16th,
17th.
that's a Tuesday.
You know,
The 16th, I got a jail meeting on
okay.
Wednesday,
17th.
on the
Well, the
17th.
16th
No,
is Tuesday.
yeah, on the 17th, I have a
Oh,
meeting.
16th.
About how long, those who've been on a tour previously, about how long do you?
That is a hit and miss question.
Anywhere
So
from all day to an
Yeah.
hour.
I promised
Okay.
to do the rockathon at the senior center at 10 o'clock that morning. It's not that long. I'd be done by probably, certainly by 11.
We could set the date and see
They're a
how many
fundraiser.
Yeah, I've got a
couples
candidate.
we have and,
But
and go from that, but how amount of calls that Terry gets, we'll know how long it's gonna take.
Yeah, and it would doing it in the afternoon then that on Tuesday work better or?
no, that Tuesday I've got something at 2.
What about Thursday that week, the 18th?
Thursday, the 18th is
I'm
particularly
actually-
bad for me.
Okay.
I'm actually
Yep.
gone at noon that day. Well, Larry could take it.
Wednesday you're out or there.
Um,
Monday afternoon?
I can do it Wednesday afternoon.
I could do it Wednesday afternoon.
Okay,
so
yeah,
so that would be the 17th,
Yep.
meet around noon or 1 o'clock. Okay. Wednesday, the 17th at 1.
okay,
I am gone all that week for my national election meeting, but I'll leave a list and everything for you guys. I don't think the auditor used to go on those. I used to. I don't know that Ruth used to. I don't remember.
She
her
did the
going,
first
but-
year, I thought. That I was on.
Did she?
I thought she did.
She might have.
You're gonna
And I
have,
can
somebody's
always
gonna
send
have
a
to.
deputy.
What's
So,
that?
I mean,
if somebody's along, mainly it
Yeah.
would be to take notes, I think,
yeah, I can always
take
send
minutes
people.
to her,
Well, there'll be no decisions made, so there'll be no minutes.
right?
Right,
But
just
we,
mainly notes.
we would want to take notes so that the discussion doesn't just go into the ether and never come back.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good point.
So where, where should we meet? What's a good meeting point?
We'll just pick you up
Here,
at the courthouse, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
meet in the back.
That's where we
Parking lot.
started before.
Okay.
Just probably have to take 2 pickups.
Yeah, at the last,
Cause it doesn't work to take the county van
yeah, at the last,
unless we get a big van,
yeah. How many can seat in the,
5 easy in both pickups.
yeah? How many does the van hold?
Well, that little that little county one, I don't know, probably, but
Probably
that's,
6.
depends on what road we go down a couple times. We took that and then we couldn't go look at it because of the road condition.
Yeah,
But I don't know, do we have,
I was just thinking, yeah, prisoner
man
transfer.
available?
who knows, right?
2 pickups is better,
Yeah, yeah,
because there's times we may have to drive across the field.
yeah. Yeah, last time we visited one construction site, that bridge at by Hemingson's. And the bridge down,
yeah, the one that we took out?
yeah,
Well, we drove by the road anyway,
yeah, that one, and we also went by and viewed the graffiti under the one on the,
down on
Dakota
Dakota Street, yep.
yeah.
Okay. All right,
One
so,
thing- One thing we might want to talk about sometime is the effect of the new state law on determining where county road responsibility starts and ends under the new law. I think that did pass.
Yes, so actually was gonna have that on the meeting next week.
Okay,
Is that the annexing one, or?
Yeah, it's where the county road runs adjacent with the city. And I don't remember the House Bill 121 maybe, but we discussed that out in Deadwood. That's the first time I heard about it. And so, yeah, I was gonna bring that up next meeting or shortly after, because we got a couple that I think fit in that maybe.
I think might, yeah, because I think the gist of it is that if the land adjacent to it is taxed in a city, that road to that edge of that taxation
Should be
now
the same.
belongs to the city, or should belong. to the city.
That's the way I understood it, but I was gonna send it to Michael and see what,
Does that include bridges?
that's what I wanna know.
Well, it
We did
says
get that deep
roads,
into that discussion, but
Wasn't the first question?
and I don't. know
was
that-
for me, but not, yeah.
I don't know that came up in debate, but I would assume that a bridge is part of a road, and if that line stops at the end of a bridge, that bridge, on the far side of the bridge, that bridge would be included. Is how I would interpret that.
I
That'd be
like
a
that
common
interpretation.
sense interpretation.
And
Might
some-
take a court case to figure it out.
How the,
and I have no doubt.
how the project was annexed, you know, if there's on both sides of the road, that had something to do with it too,
Mhm.
but no, I was gonna bring that up.
Good.
For the discussion, cause I have a few questions about that.
Right,
Oh, so we're settled on 1 o'clock, the 17th.
Got it on my calendar, yep.
all right,
We'll
Then,
pick you up here.
yeah. So I'd entertain a motion then to go into ditch board.
So
I
moved.
have a couple things
Oh,
just
oh,
for
okay.
that, just one.
Sure.
Our secretary turned in her retirement papers, so she's done the 28th of June. She gave us enough time to find somebody. We replaced Dennis with Corey, went through HR, opened up the job. He was the only one who filled out an app. So he's our new weed supervisor, and we hired a guy to take place of 2 half guys, I guess, for a better way to come up with. So we're still at the one short guy yet, but we're keeping up. And unfortunately, my papers aren't turned in yet, but I'm thinking. Larry's chomping at the bit.
Larry can deliver those papers, right, Larry? For him?
Yeah, I'll deliver tomorrow.
Burn them.
That's all I had before we went to, just so I'd let you know. We'll be looking for a secretary, office manager, I don't know, whatever you call them now, so. She's been there 24 years, 23, I don't remember how long. She was there when Art was there, so.
Are you gonna try and have that person overlap so she can teach her?
Yes, that's
Seems like a good
why I'm
idea.
glad she gave us that much notice so we can go through everything and, cause there's a lot of. Not only highway stuff, but the weed stuff that they have to take care of.
Thank you.
She's gonna leave some big shoes to fill.
Hmm.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Motion's going to ditch board.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and a second to go into ditch board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
We're in ditch board, the invoice from Alltag for Clay Creek ditch for 2201. Just the engineering.
Move to pay it.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All same sign, motion passes. There's a culvert on the Yankton Clay ditch. Just off the county line. Correct, isn't that where we were at? Yeah.
A quarter mile east.
It's in the field, but it's in the ditch. It's in Clay Creek or Yankton Clay ditch. So it's the ditch's responsibility. There's a 20-foot. An 8-foot, an 8 by 20-foot, 8-foot by 20-foot culvert there right now. We're gonna add 18.
18, just because that's what they had on hand.
Yep. So, and then,
And a band, of course.
yeah, it's.
Yeah, that would take care of a bank stability problem, right?
Well, it
it's-
ain't so much bank build is the equipment's too big for a 20-foot.
Yeah, yeah,
They crossed it last fall and the combine fell off the side.
yeah,
So it didn't ruin the culvert, but they need it bigger.
yeah.
So we're gonna add on to the one that's there and Dan Weeman. And I forgot to send this to Carrie. He gave us an estimate, to put it in for $6,750 for just the labor, and the pipe was 62,
Yeah, just about 65 with a band.
65 with the band, so about, not quite, well, right at $13,000 to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and they had the pipe on hand, but the band, they did not, but it was supposed to get made this week. So they were making one other one, so they could make two. It's kind of a job to set the jigs for different sizes, so. Called in about the right time for that. But did you hear, was he going after it? I got it on the list to be delivered if he didn't come in.
He wasn't going after it.
Okay, so. We can probably have him drop it over there. When they come down, then he could just walk it over there probably.
Of course, with the moisture we've had now, it won't be as quick getting it done, so.
Right, there's actually water in the ditch for some reason. It run off. I would have thought everything would soak in, but. I just thought of something else, but not on the ditch board.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the addition of that pipe.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion passes. Anything else for ditch board? Entertain a motion to come out.
Move to come out.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We're in regular session. Ready?
All right, thank
I
you.
do have one more thing under the highway. And this could have happened and I just don't remember it. But. Did we allow, I know one, we allowed, I call it a sump hole for tile. And it pumps in the ditch, but I just saw one this morning running full bore that I don't even remember. Do we?
Where's that one at?
East Oz Station, in between Oz Station, Bucks Ranch on the north side.
Yeah, if you dump into,
And
if you pump it into our county ditch, you're supposed to get a permit.
Yeah, so I don't even remember that being put in, and I don't remember I remember Gordon Anderson. A mile south of his place, I know that a long time ago, but. I don't remember that one. And I was just kind of curious if anybody,
Does it pump directly into the ditch?
and he's got a PVC pipe, it's probably from me to you out of the right of way, but the PVC pipe comes out with a downspout. Just like the one north of the REA on 19. It's out of the right of way, but the actual discharge
Is into the ditch.
is in the ditch.
So that's the gray area.
Maybe it is on the outside. I looked at it about 4:30 this morning when I was checking roads. And the only reason I noticed it was there is there's a bright green light on it. And I couldn't figure out what was in the ditch, which it's out of the ditch, but green lights on, apparently the pump is running. So, but I'll check it before you just take my word, but I didn't know if I don't remember allowing that.
Then that's the gray area. If
Okay.
it doesn't dump directly into the ditch
So you could be a foot out of the right of way and you're fine.
and it drains to the ditch,
Yeah.
that's,
And it's not gonna go anywhere.
That's the
other than
gray
that,
area.
right? Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it's not directly in our ditch, so.
there's one other one too, but I don't know where it's at. I mean,
Well, there's one up on University,
yeah, that's one I'm talking about, Gordon Anderson's,
Yeah.
miles south of the experiment.
and then there's one on Greenfield, just out of the right of way.
Yep, that one, but there's another one I saw. Well, I was just curious. If I missed something or,
Now, I
You
know
know-
the one that's on 19, they got permission or permit from the state.
that actually dumps outside of the right of way though. It's just outside of the right of way, runs into the right of way,
Right.
but
they
they
had to get
said
permission.
double culverts right there to take it, there's nothing up there. And I noticed this guy, you don't remember seeing water sitting there, but I have no idea how long ago that was put in. I mean, as much as I drive around, there's certain things that I don't notice all the time, but. I'm just curious if we did allow. Back when we had a drainage board. I know you couldn't do it then, but. I just thought I'd ask. Future discussion.
Do you know anything about the process with the state on that one? Did
DOT handled it.
DOT handled it? And so they reached out to DOT to find out if it was all right or,
Yeah.
okay, and then DOT said, yeah, you gotta give us a permit.
Yep.
Yeah, they have.
Well, I don't know if it was a permit. They had to get permission.
Okay,
Right.
I would assume it's a permit,
okay.
but
And that one was out of the right of way. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, that's outside. the
But it
right of way. I
dumps
believe
directly to the ditch.
discharge is too.
But when it shoots out, it hits the ditch.
Well, yeah, but the actual,
Yep, the end of the pipe,
that's what I
technically.
mean, what's the end of the pipe is what's gotta be out of the right of way or the actual water hidden? Cause it comes out of there, that must be a pretty good sized pump.
Well, they're variable speed. So the fuller it gets, the faster it'll pump.
Oh, just. Maybe we could drive by it on the tour roads, I'll write that down.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Anything for us?
I think that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Once again.
You're off the hook.
For now.
Yeah.
Right, Scott, you're next on the agenda. And
Morning.
morning.
good morning.
So looks like. Okay, the project, say will be substantially complete at the end of April. Right now, the big push is up on third floor, the basement, the first and second is, I'd say, substantially complete. We had to do a little backtracking because of the extra strobes that they're installing. And there was an oversight on the technology cabling contractor that there's no ceiling down here, so they can't what's called free air the cable, they suspend it from the ceiling. They can't do that. It has to be run through conduit. So There's a little backtracking down here and a little backtracking with the strobes that have to go in, because we gotta go back in those areas where we thought we were done and drill holes. So, but the electrical contractor is very good about cleaning up after himself, so I don't see any problems with that. Up on third floor, the large courtroom is once again what I call substantially complete. I don't think we'll be creating any more dust in there. There's some patching and painting to do in there yet. There's probably some patching and painting on first and second also. Ceiling grid is in all areas on third floor, I believe. And I believe it's in the first floor, north hallway, landing, and the, I don't know, third floor. Second floor landing hasn't been gridded yet, but they're close. We had something there we had to move yesterday, so they could get the ceiling grid to right height, so things are looking good there. We're still kind of having some problems with the fan coil units just because they're not complete yet, and the technology on them things is so crazy. I think we could launch the space shuttle with it if we had to. So he's working on that, getting it programmed. So there's some loose ends there and things we have to tie together on that. Up on the roof there, everything's been set up there for months. I know they've been up there kind of working on it, getting electrical, getting the ductwork tied in. They haven't fired up any equipment yet. We're kind of in a bit of a hold pattern because we know there's a trial coming up next week, so we have to work around that. So basically, we won't be doing anything on third floor or above the second through the fifth. So that's kind of where we're at on that. The old stack out here for the old boiler on the outside of the building. We slated that for the week of April 15th to come down. Originally, they wanted to do it this week. We kind of vacated that thought because they didn't know what they're going to run into. We had some court going on this week too. And that April 15th was wide open, so we went with that. So they have a game plan in place. If it works out, I don't think it should be too big a deal or take too long to come down. So, but yeah, that's kind of the schedule and how things are coming together on that project. So, seeing Andy sit there. We got some significant things to do inside the jail yet. I always seem to forget to talk about the jail, but we got some sprinklers lines to go in there. We got holes to drill through 1/4-inch steel, heads to set, et cetera, et cetera. So, but they claim that will be substantially complete at the end of April. So the state office is closed down for Friday, this Friday and the following Monday. Should help up on third floor with the sprinkler system, because there's 2 or 3 rooms up there in the hallway area where it comes through the ceiling. So we're kind of targeting that project for that Friday before Easter and the Monday after. So that's kind of where we're setting it with the project. Does anybody have any questions?
Are we closed Friday or Monday? No, okay.
Only if you say so.
I'm sure nobody would complain,
Yeah.
but
I can never
it's
remember.
not in
which-
our,
Yeah, but the state, I know clerk reports is closed, the states are closed.
yeah.
So we'll be targeting those areas to get. So we should be wrapping up in the clerk of courts Friday or Monday. We should be setting ceiling tiles in there. So
They didn't have any heartburn over the letter that we sent.
which letter was that?
Substantial completion one.
Oh,
They understand.
he said that's the first time anybody ever handed him, his jaw just about hit them. Don't take offense to this. He said, I've been doing this for years. People have always told me, but nobody's ever given me a letter. I said, well, here you go. I said, don't be offended by it. We're not gonna come hunting you down. So that even kind of came up when I was the one pushing for the stack to come down April 15th. And contractors going, whoa, we gotta be substantially complete. I said, I got your back. I got your back on this. I said, you're good,
Yeah.
because it just made sense to do it that week, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Any
right.
other questions on that? Okay, excuse me. I see you on here, Carrie, you got change order documents from L and L
Yeah,
builders. Did you bring those?
I did. They had copies in their packets.
Okay.
Yeah.
mhm,
And I think
okay.
this is just stuff that has like
That's the
popped
stuff,
up along the way
that
and
we
just needed a
talked about.
signature,
Yeah.
so,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
That's what I kind of thought. So the other thing I have here is our elevator. We don't have phone in there any longer. Basically, the CenturyLink, I believe, was maintaining that analog line. They won't maintain analog lines somewhere, something like that. Anyway, we don't have phone service. By code, we're required to have phone service in there. So I reached out to Cone Elevator. They have a system, if you will. It's wireless. They install it. It's $1,400 to install the equipment. If possible, it could be an additional $500 if the signal isn't strong enough. They have to install a booster. And then, of course, there's monthly maintenance on it. That's an additional $35 a month to maintain their equipment, maintain the maintain it. I don't know what all that entails, but you know, it's kind of the cyber world is kind of some voodoo magic of some sort. So right now we're paying $893 a quarter for their services. They're coming every quarter. They service the elevator. If we have an emergency, we have repairs that need to be done, they come, there's no additional charge. That $893 is covering parts, etc. So with that said, with additional $35 a month for maintaining, watching the equipment, make sure it's operating properly for the phone. It would take us up to just short of $1,000 a quarter. So it'd take us from $893 to $999 approximately.
I think that monthly charge would probably be a wash, because I'm paying for the phone line right now for that it's not being used.
Right.
And we'll be able to cancel that.
So.
phone lines.
So I have that and I have the contract here for the proper signature, if you all decide you want to accept this, so. And like I said, it's required, it's code. We're required to have it. I think it's actually got maybe 2 areas that require signature.
All right, so
Oh, no, just one.
So going, like looking at all of the things that we need to sign off on today,
Uh-huh.
see if I've got it right. We need to sign off on $11,716 addition to the contract with JLG. Let's see, and that would be changing existing heating and cooling valves to motorized valves. And then we've got a change order from L&L for fire sprinklers, $3,074.
Yeah,
And then we've got a change order from L&L to install 2x2 LEDs in room 102, and that's $594. And then we've got another change order from L&L for $2,056, and that's to add condensate. Is that how you pronounce it?
yeah,
Condensate?
condensate pumps. Yep,
Condensate pumps to the 4-fan coil unit.
right,
And then this would be an addition of 1,400 installation
right,
fee. Essentially to sign off on a contract
right,
for 1,400 installation fee and $35 a month maintenance.
correct, yep,
Am I missing anything? It
no,
looked like all the other documents were sort of subcontractors responding to L&L
right, yeah.
There's about 15,000, isn't there?
for,
The change orders.
No, I think that,
I think.
I think, are you reading the 594 is 5,090? 40 maybe?
Well, the first one's 59, almost 6,000,
Mm.
5992.
Almost 6 and then
Then there's another one,
3.
3683. And then there's a,
I don't have a
3683.
3683. That might be it.
Oh,
The
is
one-
that, is that combining 4 and 6?
how did that just happen?
Yeah, there's a bunch of subcontractor lines there.
Yeah, it
Um,
wasn't a subcontractor line, I didn't
okay.
think. And now I just lost my stuff.
So I was looking off that initial document. This has got, oh yeah, where's the 36?
It's under, it's suitors, but.
Yeah, this
that-
is, we're on page 35.
Yeah, it's L and L Builders, the change order for 3,074. And it's to add a fire sprinkler valve outside the jail cells.
Yeah,
And that's a contract that we need to sign off on.
Okay, so that's a portion of the 5,992, because that's
Yeah.
listed as PRO3 as well.
It is, okay. Change out of valves, okay. Okay,
So would we like to take these one by one or all in a group?
just make the motion to approve the change orders for JLG.
I'll second.
So that change order is for 11,716. So there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then L and L Builders Fire Sprinkler System for 3,074.
So are we doing those? That's separate.
That's part of the change orders.
Yeah, that's
Is
part
it,
of all these.
is that
Yep.
part of the 11,000?
Yeah.
So the 11,000 is the total. So
Yep.
we don't need to do any of those subs?
no,
No.
I
Okay.
don't think so.
Great.
no.
that's kind of confused. Well, I was confused when I read
Right,
that.
Yeah,
thing
that,
too.
that's what the total comes up.
Okay.
to.
Yep.
It's about 11.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right.
But then separately, we'll want to discuss the
Phone. right?
the phone in
Phone,
the
yeah.
elevator, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So like this $1,400 for the equipment and the install, $35 a month for their monitoring service on that. Like I said, it's code and we're required to have it in there. It'll basically, it's gonna be like the old system. It's gonna, it'll dial out to where we want it to go. Right now, I think it dials right to dispatch. They require 3 different people that they can contact, you know, but.
Right.
So I'll be number 1 and I haven't picked out who lucky 2 and 3 are yet.
So we don't have that contract in our packet.
I'm not seeing that near though, are we?
Oh, I apologize. No, I did not get it in there.
Okay. So move to approve the phone contract, right? Or
Oh.
elevator phone service.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So I'll leave these with you to sign. That was the contract for $5 a month. This. Contract install. I don't know if part of your signature now. That'd be on the second page.
Second page. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, real quickly. I'm full staff now, finally, starting today, or starting yesterday, actually. John David Walker came on board at the courthouse full-time, last Wednesday. Heather Hillrich started here yesterday at the safety center, and, I couldn't be happier.
Awesome.
That man has taken such a load off me, I can't believe it, in the week that he's been here. He almost single-handedly cleaned that courtroom. And I mean, from the top to the bottom. So. We got a lot done.
Awesome.
So hopefully he's young and energetic and he lasts several years to come. Cause it's gonna take it this old
We'll
building.
fix that.
So hopefully we don't wear it down. So, yeah, things are looking good. You know,
Awesome.
I'm very optimistic about everything. So, yeah. And then the other thing, Mr. Hammond contacted me about. Some money the Historical Society said they wanted to put towards,
They'd like to
is
give
it
a
towards
grant.
that courtroom project or towards the courthouse? in general?
Well, they would prefer it to be, on 3rd floor. It'd be
Okay.
courtroom related probably. But, they'd like to give us a grant to, help support and some improvement to, 3rd story. And, Scott, you had a one idea that
Right.
sounded good with, and then I immediately made several possibility attached to that. Go ahead.
Is this towards the security part or what we're doing now?
No, this
So
would
it's
be a standing grant to, in it. It could fold into the security grant.
Right.
Go ahead.
So this idea was brought to my attention by a contractor that I had up here a couple years ago when I first got here. And this courtroom security project came around to being, and the contractor looked at that time, Pitts had a laundry list of stuff they wouldn't do. Well, one of them was the woodwork. So I thought, well, who do I reach out to? Well, I knew one individual in Vermillion that was his thing. He's into old woodwork, he's into preservation, et cetera. So I reached out to Ryan O'Connor and he was up there looking around and I took a picture. This is on the third floor, obviously looking towards the courtroom. This is that single entrance door right there. And the courtroom security project, this needs to come out. This no longer exists, just get a double doors here. So when Ryan saw that, he said, well, you know what you could do on the hall side, you can take that door out and you wall it from the back side. You do a nice backdrop in there, you leave that pocket, you do a nice backdrop in there that matches the rest of your woodwork. And now you got a place where you can display stuff. He thought that'd be a good place for Mr. Clay's picture. That hangs by the elevator. Like Richard said, you know, the sitting judge's picture there, shelf there, whatever, and I thought that would kind of lend to it, almost make it look like it was just built that way.
Mhm.
Versus you got a wall across there, if you wall it off, now we gotta find this stuff. Which is gonna be near impossible, but I got a few ideas on that too, but. So I thought, well, talk about this $2,000 that the Historical Society wanted to donate or give or whatever. That might be a good place to use it. So like I said, it's not my idea. This comes from Ryan O'Connor, which I thought was a good idea, so.
And since it's from the historical preservation groups, that something that would enhance the historical nature of the building would be an appropriate use of those funds. And it could be like another thought I had was, could be like Henry Clay's, the namesake of Clay County.
Right.
Would be one, but, for us, it could be that, have the picture of our current Supreme Court Chief Justice there, since he's from Clay County, and that may be an appropriate one. And then I wanted to include you, Mike, too, on possible honorees there, and Andy, and that's another one that I thought we should consult with. And among the group, or even do who should put out a contest of school age kids, who should be honored in this space. There are a lot of possibilities. It's rather than just making it a continuation of that blank wall, having another little alcove for another picture there would be appropriate.
So you can design it so it can get changed out.
Right.
Yeah, it could be changed out. You could have, could be any picture there. It could be any other document. It could be just something that we would choose that would be of historical significance, either to this building, to the county, or to the state even. There's a lot of neat ones, I know in my last June's tour of courthouses, there were a number of really cool ideas that I saw during that tour, which were usually much bigger. They were like the murals. A lot of the murals in some of those courthouses were that are permanent, that are 100 and some years old, were really striking. We don't have that possibility for us, but something
Yeah.
like this could be helpful.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
It could come, but
it could come. Yeah.
is this something that would have to be encased in glass then, so nobody messes with it, or?
we could, that could be part of it. We got, they're talking a couple $1,000 and, so this could be helping us to the tune of a couple $1,000 on doing that part of the project, getting rid of that door that needs to be done. And also being a bit of an enhancement out in the hallway to the courthouse.
Yeah.
Ambiance.
And I suppose as I'm imagining this, you could pretty easily have space for one image on one side and one image in the courthouse too, right?
Well, the courthouse side would be a solid wall.
Is that gonna be
Yeah.
walled in something there?
And,
That'll all
you
look
know,
the same.
to match the existing, what's there now on both
All right.
sides. So,
We
yeah,
could end up with a big TV on that wall.
Mm.
true. So. Yeah,
But this way, this idea is gonna be cheaper than if we have to match that marble.
Mm-hmm.
Correct,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
So
I found some marble, so I can match it.
it's a win-win in that respect, yeah.
It's a little stained.
Was it in the attic?
Oh, it's in the men's restroom.
I was just, I think I know where it came from. A second, speaking of 100-year-old mural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, there'll probably be some coming out of the jury room too, the jury restroom too, but yeah, it's not. Yeah. I don't know nothing about cleaning marble, so there's probably a system out there, but
but it's a grant opportunity that brings up ideas on how we can enhance the courthouse and save a little money on that other project.
Do we need any sort of a motion to encourage that or anything?
I
But
think at this point, we just need to
Great idea.
be thinking about it, cooking ideas. There may be other ideas that are best in that, using that space, but I think that's a good, I think restricting the ideas to using that space is good to kind of focus our thoughts at this point.
Okay.
Unless someone thinks we should have a statue in the middle of the courtroom or something.
okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. And I love the idea of having a historic painting.
Hmm.
And one other thing I like to do. It's not on the agenda, so I'll try to go quickly if that's okay. As you come into our courthouse from the south, and you come into the double doors there, and that's our grand entrance, if you will. That is the world's ugliest light fixture hanging up there in that ceiling. There's no cover on it. There's two little LED bulbs sitting up there. I would propose that up in the attic, we have a surplus of lights. Not as grandiose as the ones in the main courtroom, but the same design as the ones in the small courtroom. That we send one of those out, we have it refurbished and installed there. I mean, it's gonna look a lot better than what we have there right now.
Mm.
I mean, it's kind of hard to dress it up. It's because we have so much exposed piping and conduit, and what you got running around in that area, but it would sure look a lot better than what's there. And I have reached out to the contractor on the job here. Odell Electric, and he said, yeah, that's no problem. We can take it back to the shop, we can rewire it, we can put it up there for you. It's no big deal.
Great.
So, hey. Not sure what that at all is gonna cost, but I think I got money in my budget to cover that, and it would look a lot better than what's there, so.
Yeah, because a lot of those fixtures up there are for parts.
Uh-huh.
That's what we saved them for.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because last year we pulled two out of the courtroom that weren't working, and they're a little different design. And that, the refurbished two of them, get them reinstalled was like $2,000, a little over $2,000. I knew it was gonna be up there in price, but what else you gonna do when they wear out? So as luckily I was able to find Thompson Electric that has a fabrication shop, and they do that sort of stuff, so. But everything else in there seems to be working right at this point in the courtroom, so.
Great.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you. It's heartening to see it finally all coming to a close.
Sorry about the noise this morning.
Yeah. The chaos
Come on
starting
back
up.
and they're out there. "Brr."
No, it's okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Before you go, Mike, I got a question on this boys, girls thing, if you don't.
Sure.
So they're fee-based. Does it, do you have to be a member to get their services?
I don't know how that works. Maybe somebody else, I'm not sure, because that's separate. That's their after-school program that they have for parents at work. And I don't know, I know just from what Andy said, I knew it was, they had to pay for it. I don't know what the alternative to that is. He talked about it being a more traditional, and I don't know what that means.
So it's just the after-school program that is
Mhm.
fee-based.
Right, so
Yeah,
if, once we get this
So
diversion
everybody's
program going,
available for the diversion.
Mhm.
yeah, diversion
Okay.
will not be fee-based. That's just for the after-school. That's their, I think they're kind of their main
That's what I
staple.
was wondering.
That's a
Yeah.
good clarification.
Yeah, this is a great clarification. The diversion program is gonna be available to children that meet the diversion, and I think that this, cause the diversion opportunities, can be expanded to, so right now we only offer teen court. Teen court is a fairly, teen court doesn't have the mechanism to kind of have the punishment meet the crime, I guess, if you would, if you want to kind of put it in that analysis. They have you have to exist within teen court. So say like a driving offense or a tobacco offense. I think a lot of times those kids wouldn't want to explore teen court because it would require so much of them that perhaps with this diversion opportunity would provide, this coordinator can do other things outside of teen court for either people who are multiple offenders or maybe have either less or more severe offenses that would be appropriate for teen court. Because sometimes we have kids that their offense is beyond the capability of teen court as well. So we have some that are, maybe a little bit too, the kid's not gonna want to put in the work because of the nature of teen court. We're also gonna have ones that we just can't offer teen court to because it's not appropriate. This diversion opportunity will be free in the same sense that teen court is. It'll just allow us to expand opportunities for kids that currently can't be served or are choosing not to be served because of the limitations of teen court.
And with your framing there, you're expecting it to expand in both directions. So this is also gonna help kids that maybe their crime would be more severe than what the current
Absolutely,
program- okay.
or kids who have already had an opportunity at teen court and have failed out,
Okay.
and perhaps that was.
That's right.
6 months
They're
ago,
talking
8 months
about
ago, 12 months, whatever, maybe they're in a different situation and diversion says, yeah, we're not gonna just offer you the same opportunity you had before, but we'll offer you something a little more advanced, something that's gonna require more accountability. You've already had this opportunity and squandered it, but we're not gonna turn you away. We're gonna try to work with you in another capacity. So both directions absolutely would be the hope.
Could teen court be a little more flexible to those with lesser offenses that would
I don't think they can be because and I don't know that answer. That'd be a great question for Savannah, but my understanding is there are specific parameters that they have to exist within. And they will offer it. I just think that because of what they have to do, oftentimes the youth are choosing not to jump through that hoop because it's, they see it as a small issue and this would be a large consequence and it'd put a lot of time and effort and energy in, or I could just pay $100 and walk away. So I think this is teen court, I think, has to operate within a specific set of standards and they can't deviate from that. This would allow an opportunity to catch those kids that we can't otherwise catch.
All right, so we've got a warranty deed here. Transfer.
Yeah, so this is the warranty deed. I prepared it. I essentially used a template from a previous land sale from the county, and I've worked with Lisa in the Register of Deeds office. She gave me the template. She's looked it over. She doesn't have an issue with. It's very specific as to how far down you go on the page and how you have to, the font and everything. It appears to be in compliance with that. This is the section. So we're talking about this 10-foot strip of land that has been at issue now since the origin of our land sale with the city and the county over in what's going to be the Jack Powell edition in the law enforcement center. This is, as we've worked through it, there are really 3 sections of this 10-foot strip that runs parallel to Baylor Street off of Stanford. This is the furthest east, if you would, running from Stanford to the west for
743
I
feet,
was gonna say 700 something feet.
45 feet.
And so 745 feet, the county has clear title on this property. That was made known through the title search that was conducted in previous months leading up to this. And so this is deeding this portion of the land that we know Clay County owns currently to the city. This will allow them to be successful, or at least hopefully be successful. They're needing to run utilities and get plating done for different things that they're doing with the new zoning, with residential and all sorts of infrastructure going in that area. So this is the first section. This is kind of, if I remember right, we're right at about half. The 10-foot strip of land is about 1,500 feet roughly. So this is clear title to half of it. We're still working on the farther two pieces and establishing clear title. And that's another 700 feet roughly that we need to establish clear title on. But from my understanding, I think we're in a good spot, and this is what the city's requested. It seems appropriate at this point, in my opinion, to deed this over to the city now so they can continue with their work while we continue getting clear title on the other two pieces of land.
So if you drive out there and are interested, if you go from Stanford down Baylor, this is the section that has the curb and gutter on it. And when that ends, that's the other section.
Right, yeah.
You don't have any issues?
No, I don't.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing,
There's no issues with transferring the title in exchange for some consideration like $1 or anything like that, or?
I traditionally have done that as well, but I went off of what the sale that Lisa gave me. This is how it was done by the county at that
Okay.
time. So I normally would have put zero, but I don't believe, I would have put $1. I don't believe there's any issue doing it this way. This is how it's been done in the past with government entities, the county specifically. I feel confident that it'll work.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And perhaps it'd be an appropriate time then if you'll see the certificate of real estate value is also attached below. That'll need to be filled out by John Prescott or someone within the city. I can bring that over to him. But I guess the question that I wasn't clear on, and I didn't even think of it until I was sitting here this morning, is this is exempt, as you'll see on the warranty deed, it's exempt from transfer tax pursuant to an cites a statute, but there will still be a $30 filing fee. And I don't remember if that was specifically laid out as to which agency or which, Clay County or city was responsible for that filing fee. And I know that we had some discussions. I think it was Dave and Travis. I wish I would have thought about this before.
The filing fee goes to that money goes to the county, right?
It goes to the county. Well, I'm not sure it goes to the county because I'm not sure. Lisa said we have to pay it. I didn't ask her who it actually ends up with, but regardless of who pays it, I'm not sure where it goes, but somebody has to pay it, even though we're both government agencies.
It goes to the Register of Deeds office, right?
It gets paid to the Register of Deeds. I'm not sure where that money goes after that.
So we can go talk to her.
Fair enough.
I think we can just pay the $30 or
Yeah.
get it worked out somehow.
Out of left pocket into right pocket.
Yeah.
I think that's what the agreement was, is that we cover all that.
And normally the seller does do those filing fees, as I recall. I'm not very. That's back in the memory a long ways.
I think that is true. Well, maybe Dave would know better than we would. Who usually covers those fees? Seller or buyer?
On the
Filing
fees. The register would be, the seller.
Yeah.
So the other, it depends, that's all negotiable in the contract, but normally it's a seller or 50-50, type thing in a real estate transaction.
So left pocket to right pocket fits with that too.
And there will be two more of these once we get through the other two pieces of land. So this is number 1 of 3. All right, and so we can discuss that with Lisa and figure out if we know where that money goes to, and then I can have John sign it, then I will take possession of these 2 documents and for filing, and then we'll have to bring it to the Register of Deeds for filing.
Sounds good. All right. We had a vote? Yes, we voted yes. We did have a
Vote
vote.
yes?
Yeah.
We did vote?
Did we?
Okay, good.
I think we're all set then. Thank
Yeah,
you.
short-term memories.
Yeah.
The heck. Collectively.
Thank
apparently.
goodness we have our video
Not
back.
just-
That's
Not
great.
just me.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Anything else for us?
On there as well as the courthouse security project update, I believe, is that right?
Yep.
On the
Oh, yeah.
graph. So that, the intent was to hopefully have Dick Strasberg here today with a proposal and an availability for you guys to consider and make a decision on moving forward. We did have the opportunity, Dick and I, to meet with Jim Liedrich from Woods Fuller on a phone call or Zoom call, actually. It appears that we're moving in the right direction. We're just needing to figure out, if we can create a marriage between the design build and the contract manager at risk portions of state law in order to work through this project. It appears that there is a way to do that, but it's complicated given the nature of the statutes. And so Jim has been diligently working on marrying that for us through documents, and then he'll provide that. And I believe at that point we'll be ready. The intent is to bring that in front of the commission, and Dick being present either remotely or personally next Tuesday with a proposed plan for the commission to consider so that we can start moving forward on soliciting bids pursuant to that grant.
And to piggyback on that, I think we should look into, and you and I have talked about this, when the jail's finished, we're gonna have to remodel the sheriff's office and police department. So if we can, we'll use the same type of design build with Jim, Jim will have that all figured out for us at least. And
Yes.
the architect is already down here. I didn't know if we should maybe piggyback with that same architect to maybe look at that while she's here.
Yeah, and I did speak a little bit with Dick on that. He says that I think the hard part is with the gal that he's specifically been in contact with. Sounds like she's got a young kid, and so she's kind of picking and choosing what her workload is right now. So it may work out, it may not, but Dick felt I brought that as a potential proposal of, hey, when she comes down here, perhaps it'd be a good time to really kind of figure out this other project that's looming in the not too distant future as well. I think the work that Jim is doing right now with creating this relationship between what we can do architecturally and with the rest of the project between design, build, and contract manager at risk will also pay dividends for the work that we're going to need to do on the sheriff's office and police department. So regardless of if we can utilize her services as the engineer or the architect, I think it's going to be important that we have this established well anyway for the work that we're going to do, regardless of who it is. So hopefully it's two birds, one stone type of situation.
Yeah, 'cause you could do a walkthrough and take some pictures and a few measurements, could save a trip perhaps, anyway.
Well, it'll take her time to come up with something. We've got a year.
Yeah.
So, but that year will go fast too, I'm sure.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Andy. Communication tower, huh?
We, some of you might recall this, I know Travis has been in the loop along the way on this, but we wanted to, we took the communication tower out of the original building permit for the law enforcement center because we didn't want to hold it up. And so that's not a part of the current project. And right now it's going to be built under the FF&E part that Tegra manages. As communication equipment, it shouldn't be required to have a bid process, but what I did was I reached out to 3 different tower contractors. Anco was one that was recommended by Sioux Falls Two-Way, which is the company we use to manage our radios. Ershman Engineering out of Yankton was one that is building a tower in Union County on the grounds of their courthouse. And then Vantech Communications, another company we've worked with for years. They build towers. I tried to get a quote out of Vantech. They promised one but never delivered. I gave them multiple last call. And they never did submit any sort of proposal. So I did get one from Anco and Ershman Engineering. And going through them, I believe that the Anco was the better bid. They did take a few things out of it after some conversations, such as landscaping, because we have landscaping already planned, and the geotech report we already did. And they gave me a refresh quote of $174,070.11. And comparing that to the Ershman one, which is $148,423.81. I went through and looked at the scope of what they provide, and truthfully, I like the Anco proposal better. It's more complete. Ershman specifically said we won't install your antennas,
on the tower. We don't do that. We won't pull your cable up. Sioux Falls Two-Way said, we don't do that either. And so we're having some third vendor that would come in and do that. Anco does that. Anco also covers the FCC and FAA study that the city requires before they would issue the permit for that, which is why we didn't want to hold up and we separated this from our project. They do provide that. Hirschman doesn't do that. So there were things about the two bids that made me prefer the Anco one, even though it's a bit more money. I think that we'll spend more, or at least come pretty close to even between the two when we start paying third parties to finish those projects. And I looked into the FCC and FAA permitting myself. I'm not the guy to be doing that. The first paragraph lost me, so I think that we leave that to experts. One thing about the tower, we worked with Jose some with the city. There was a concern about fall radius on one of our locations where we thought we'd put it. It would fall across the street if it were to fall, and that's a concern for Jose. He wants at least one lane open if it were to fall. So I suggested we tuck it up against the building. That nobody had any problem with that, other than when you bring it within 10 feet of the building, it becomes part of the building according to the city's code. And being more than 35 feet tall, it wouldn't require a variance. I don't think we'll have any problem with that variance, especially since we're the first structure in the development. There's no neighbors to complain about it, but and it's certainly needed. We absolutely have to have it for our dispatch to function. So I don't see any problem with that. But once we get approval for this, then just being that it's greater than Travis's threshold for approval, we thought we'd bring it in front of the commission. And then we would put the tower contractor together with Beckenhauer and let them get going on that, and let them get going on their studies so we can get approval from the city for that. And so my recommendation was that we go with the Anco quote, and I ran that by Travis and Dick as well, and Dick agreed with that.
Does the tower placement affect insurance at all? I was just curious.
I'm not sure. On that.
Having it 10 feet from the building would affect, is it?
Well, if it falls, it could fall on the building, but anywhere within 120 feet, it's still gonna fall on the building.
Yeah, that's what I wondered. Placement.
Yeah,
was a factor.
We did talk about having climb shields on it so people could climb it and get on our roof. That was a concern. But that wouldn't be as great a concern if it was 30 or 40 feet from the building, but 30 or 40 feet from the building put us into other issues with the fall radius. Should have a climb shield or a fence anyway.
I was just gonna say, shouldn't we put a chain link fence around?
Yeah, it would be protected there. The intended area for it is gonna be right near the jail inmate garage area, right in that area, kind of tucked in on the inside corner.
Other-
Electrified.
There you go. Little pop.
Yeah, we wouldn't want somebody climbing this to get on the roof. The way these towers are, by the time they got that high, they're gonna be quite a ways. Right, to jump over there, but. If somebody were to somehow escape through a skylight. This being nearby, if they can get up to that skylight, they can get down from the roof, they'll jump off it anyway. So I don't think it's a security problem for us, so we can sure fence it off. Keep people off it, but the tower contractors talk about climb shields where they have. We don't have a problem with people climbing any of the other towers around town.
Not yet.
The water tower.
It's that's happened. There, and you have the crazy kid exemptions that
Attractive nuisance.
yeah. I put a climb shield on my tower, for instance. It's only 46 feet tall or whatever. I took it right to the limit of what our ordinance would allow, but yeah, I put a climb shield on that. So I think it's just smart. I remember I actually climbed no, I don't want to go there.
Great. We got the cameras back on.
This
Yep.
was, I was, 15 years old.
Statute of limitations may have run out by
It
now.
Could have, yes.
So, so do we have a contract to sign or anything to sign, or do we just give you approval and you go ahead?
I think if you folks approve it, I'll just notify Dick Strasberg because that would fall under FF&E and they can work out how they're gonna pay for it, and I would put Henko together with Beckenhauer and Jose.
Who does the building permit? Who has to submit that and then go get the variance?
In this case here, I'm gonna bet that the city is gonna expect the county as the owner to request the variance, but I don't know. Let them work on that.
Okay.
Definitely on that, and then the building permit, I assume would be the contractor, right? Anco is the contractor, it's a separate project.
Yeah,
We can work that out.
we won't have any issues with that $100,000 as far as bidding.
I don't believe so. As a communications equipment, it would be exempt from bidding under the state bid laws.
Okay,
And actually, we should probably do the building permit. Just so they understand. Cause the contractor's not gonna understand how our building permit fee works, so.
Right. So is there a motion to approve expending $174,070.11 on a communication tower?
So moved. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's clear that that's under the FF&E part of our project.
So we're not spending an extra? I didn't know the tower is actually part of that money.
It was in there.
Okay, so we're not spending an extra.
Right.
Yeah, you're not.
Okay,
It was part of the original.
I couldn't
plan, and
remember if it was-
in the early scope, I think we only had $100,000 in there,
well,
but it was part of the project. It's just that selecting the contractor, since it wasn't bid under Beckenhauer's, Beckenhauer did all the subcontractor bidding and they didn't do this part. That's why we're coming here. Just trying to make sure that there's some sort of transparency involved with why we selected this one.
All right. Thank you.
Anything
And-
else?
I think that's it. So vouchers.
yeah, move to approve the vouchers.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve vouchers. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we do have a community health nurse contract with the Department of Health. It started 3 months ago. And basically we'd pay what's $6,696 for the 2024, January to December 31st. The big difference, looking at that contract to me was that there's no guaranteed hours. So they will come on an as needed basis. They'll do as much as they can on online.
I think it's specified that they'll do as much as they can in person, but they reserve
Right.
the right to do things.
To do things online, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Or something
we
like
know how
that.
that turns
Yep.
out. So there's no guarantee of hours. But it'd be about $129 a week. Which doesn't seem excessive for the availability of nursing, community nursing appointments. I'll say I'm disappointed that we don't have the services that over a period of decades have just been chipped away at. And this is just one more chip. It's what we've got. There would always be the possibility of contracting with Sanford, but I think that would work out to be a lot more expensive.
I think at this point, we move to approve this contract for this year and, when we're, hopefully, in better financial sorts, if it continues to deteriorate.
Is that a motion, Dave?
Yeah, I'll second exactly that motion. Yep.
All right, we got a motion and a second. And I agree with you that, when we're in better financial shape, this might be one of those things we'd want to take a close look at because we've got a persistent high poverty rate in the county. And, this is one of those services that for generations have been available to people with very little money and people with a lot of money. I mean, all these people at, even at USD, the retirees group, they'll tell you that they brought their kids to the county courthouse for services, and it's gone. Or mostly gone. So we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Lane?
Yeah, I just have a quick thing. So they are not necessarily going to be here every week.
Right.
Okay, my wife was at a child care thing and heard that there was going to be one nurse that handles Clay, Union, Lincoln, Turner, and Yankton counties. And
Yep.
they would spend one day a week in each county. Is that not accurate then?
Well, it's not completely accurate. I've been told that they would try to spend one day a week in each in Clay County, but that if there were no appointments, they would not be coming. That means that if nobody needs the nurse on that one particular day that the nurse comes and they have no appointments, then the nurse will not come.
Awesome. Okay. Just as kind of an FYI for you in the future then, I've been having discussions with the Department of Health about the pod situation and all of this. Because they are not supporting certain things, and it may come up where the county is going to have to financially support pod at some point because the Department of Health is going through all these changes and they don't have anybody to operate any of their outreach stuff at the moment. So, yeah, it's kind of a mess out there. So, okay, just clarifying some things. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Lane.
So their services are all by appointment only. And so, that's different than say if we had one day a week that was assigned to Clay County that they would be there and they could do paperwork they do back at their home office, in that office, while they would be ending up with perhaps walk-ins. So we don't really have a way of alerting the public that they would be here if needed on a certain day. And a lot of the clientele doesn't plan ahead very well. And the other part is that of the A through P services that they provide here, I wonder, unless those were well advertised, folks that say would need tuberculosis testing, TB medication management, I guess I didn't realize myself that this would be one of the types of services offered until I read this yesterday or the day before. So my guess is going forward is that the service is going to be grossly underutilized just because folks that would need it don't necessarily know how to obtain it, when to obtain it, or what types of services are provided. So it looks to me like at this point, the whole program is set up to fail.
Yeah, and I think we made that argument to the Department of Health, and they're not
So you agree this, that
I agree.
assessment is accurate?
I agree.
100%.
It's terrible.
Mhm.
We don't have another option.
No, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that, the agreement as written is pretty much self-defeating. And, we don't have a good means of working on that other than, as far as alerting our public to services that are available, only if you have an appointment at this point. We can't even do our own, pay for our own advertising, say, at the various ways that can be done to alert our constituents that it's available. And without a designated day that they would be here, we can't even tell them that, hey, come in on Wednesdays.
Mhm.
They'll be here Wednesdays, no other day. If you need them, come in Wednesday.
Yeah, the only thing we have that helps is the WIC staff that
Mhm.
can alert the WIC clients to what's available. But of course, there are more people eligible for these services than just WIC clients, and
Sure.
we have no way of letting them know.
I guess that's my point, and I think that's my point in bringing it up right now, so it's sort of on the record.
The best thing we can do is advertise. It's about the only thing we can do. It's, social media, obviously, is a lot of the clientele, are on.
Yeah,
So-
that's one advertising
You know,
media.
we can advertise through the Community Connection Center. I'm sure they'd be
Yep,
happy to.
Connection Center,
And They do say they agree to employ public health professionals, support staff to provide services of the county at a level determined necessary to serve the eligible population. So I think that the more we can, succeed in that advertising, the more we at least would have a case to make if they're not meeting that need. I mean, that is one of their obligations, and I think they're probably hoping nobody takes them up on it.
Yeah, let the school,
Yeah,
have the school nurses be advocates.
right.
That's a good idea.
And provide the school nurses with this list. And maybe post this list down at Community Connections.
Yep.
And have the community connections staff as being a point of service where they could make these appointments that would be necessary. There are a couple little things we can do to help the program.
Other thoughts? So,
Dick summed it up.
Yeah.
Step down off the soapbox.
no, I mean, it is deeply disappointing. We do have a resident of Clay County who was the 5-day-a-week public health nurse for decades here. And we have other residents of the county who were public health nurses here for 3 days a week. And now it's 1 day a week, but only if necessary. So it is a disappointment.
And I think one of the things too, that's important here too, that this is another pay me now or pay me later sort of issue. It's like teen court in a way, where teen court saves much higher expenses later on in life of those particular clients. Here too, having early and effective healthcare, preventative healthcare is so important, and it saves the community a lot of money as those clients grow up and become parts of the community with higher health costs later.
Yep.
That in part, we've got to pick up.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, Clay County Park
Nothing new.
and building project updates?
Walls are going up.
Yeah, it's looking
Looking out
good.
there, yep.
It's heartening.
That's a heavy duty crane.
Oh, yeah.
Joint jurisdiction, anything? No? And Any executive session necessary?
Sure. It'll be quick.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Can I point out that I was out of
Second.
town for the joint jurisdiction meeting, so.
Okay. And this is for legal,
Legal and I guess personnel too.
legal and personnel. All right, so we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Sure, second.
Second, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carries. We're
moved to come out of executive session.
Second.
It's a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion to adjourn and a second. There can never be discussion on a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
How'd the county meeting go or the